Hey guys, welcome back to the Scout Tactical channel. Doing an EDC knife review tonight. Nearly midnight on a warm September night in Texas. I wanted to knock this one out for you. This was a suggestion by one of our viewers in the last video. I asked for suggestions and one of them was, hey, how about low cost EDC blades? And I thought, hey, why not? The criteria for this video, so that you know, is it's going to be EDC blades obtainable by the normal public from major brands, less than $100. Okay, so for me, good price knives are going to be $100 or less, and I'm wanting to pay less, let me assure you, on a policeman's salary. But I like Benchmade, I like some of these other companies, but man, you see some of these knives and they're $250 and $300 and stuff like that. I can't stand seeing these reviews and the guys are hyping up the knife and this is the best knife ever and whatever, and then you look at it and it's $485. You're like, what the heck is that? $485? I'm not paying that for a knife. I'll get a gun for that price. And with that said, you like what you like. If you're a total knife guy, which I like knives, maybe you pay that. You know, when I was shooting professional archery, it was nothing to have $2,500 in your bow. These guys with their long range rifles and stuff like that, it's nothing to have $5,000 and $6,000 in them. So you do what you do. The professional bass fishermen have $50,000 or $80,000 bass boats, and of course I'm still fishing from the pier. So with that said, my criteria, and I think most common working man's criteria, is going to be $100 or less EDC blade. You'll see some similarities of all of these already right off the bat. Let me tell you, there are other brands. There are other good knives. Just like there are other guns, there are other good brands of guns and other types of guns, calibers and what have you. I tend to like, as an EDC blade, and I do carry one every day, both on and off duty, I like blades between 3 and 4 inches. I'm not a steel fanatic, but I like something that's not going to break on me. And I like generally 6 ounces or less on an EDC blade. You know, preferably, and you'll see most of these are coming in at 2 point something to 4 point something ounces. You know, I don't like real heavy knives for an EDC deal. Now, if it was something where I used it as a tool every day, specifically for my job, a little weight wouldn't hurt. Okay, getting into them. I start off with the one that's open. It's the CRKT Ma Tai. They also make a mini Ma Tai. This is a full Ma Tai. I wanted this knife for a couple of years. I kept seeing in the catalogs. As you know, I'm also a licensed gun dealer. I used to have a hunting store. I used to see this all the time, and I started selling it in the store, and it was popular. Let me tell you, I've had this knife for a couple of years. I started carrying it, and after about 2 months, the dang blade chipped on me. And I'm going to see if I can show it to you. It's right there. If you can see that, you may or may not be able to. But it chipped, and it pissed me off. Not a real expensive blade, but a good looking little guy with a jimp right there, okay? And the swooping deal, this is an Elishewitz, I'm sure, design. It's a real good knife. It has, I don't like the frame lock, they call the frame lock right here, because you have to push this over and then fold the knife. Well, that means your thumb's in the path of the blade. I don't know. I'd rather have the buttons like on the Benchmade, the SOG, several other brands have a different, better way for you to get the knife closed. Anyway, closed, it looks good. Pocket clip is metal and it's super deep. You see it goes to the top. I really wish it loop over right there, but it is super deep as you see. So a great knife. The knife really is pretty inexpensive for most people. Of course, prices may vary, and sometimes you can find knives a little cheaper on eBay here and there. Although it's getting worse, it used to be better. But it's about a $60 knife, and it's 3.6 inch blade, and it's about a 5 ounce blade. I think it's like 5.2 ounces or something like that. It does have the spring assist from CRKT with a thumb stud, which is ambi. There's a thumb stud on both sides. You just push and it flips open. That's not an auto. Okay, so let's get that straight right now. Auto is illegal in most states. Of course, I'm a police officer, so it's not illegal for me, but for most civilians, it is going to be illegal. But the spring assisted in some states is not allowed either, so make sure that you can have stuff like that before you buy it, because you don't want to get some type of illegal weapon or unlawful carrying of a weapon charge for nothing. Moving on, I got a couple knives. These are last, but this one's pretty new to the market. It's a 511. Most people don't know a lot about 511 knives. It says on this side that it's made by Blade Tech, which of course is awesome stuff. Not bad, 3.5 inch blade. Okay, so 1/10 of an inch shorter than the CRKT, but a big knife, 3.5 inch blade. It's got the Tanto point. It's got real good finger grooves. I like that. It's got jimping up here, and the blade ramps up, as you see. Right here is what I'm talking about. Right here is what I'm talking about. Hello. So this gives you a good hold, in my opinion, to be doing some cutting, box cutting, rope cutting, whatever. I happen to carry this knife every day in uniform as a police officer. Number one, it was all black, so that's good tactically. It has a good clip. There's that lock I don't like anymore, you know, with the frame lock. But it has a good clip, nice and deep. It's a real thin knife. It's wide open through the knife, so I'm not going to get a bunch of debris in there. If I do, I can just blow it out real easily. Doesn't have a thumb stud. It has the hole like all the Spydercos do. I'm not a real big fan of that, but I will say, I've had this knife for, you can see the marks on it and stuff in the finish probably. I've had this knife for probably 3 years. I've carried it for probably a year straight on duty, and I really like it. So, yay 511. Hey, at 45 bucks, by the way, what a price, okay? I've never chipped it. I've barely dulled it, and it takes an edge easily with really inexpensive, like little hand pocket sharpeners. So an excellent knife. It's made out of Aus 8, which is a real common steel. SOG does a lot of Aus 8 stuff. At 5 ounces, a little bit heavy, but great knife. Moving on are two twins. As far as size goes, 3.3 inch blades. Two different companies. This is the Blur from Kershaw, and this is the CRKT Igniter. Now the Blur you're probably used to seeing in black and then sometimes in red. I got this special edition OD with a black blade, and yeah, I love it. 3.3 inch blade, thin knife, on the clip so-so, because it doesn't go all the way to the top, so it's kind of a high carry, but man, it feels good. It's got the it's got a beveled, I don't know if you can see that, beveled, it goes down thumb stud, which is ambi. Can you see the angle on that? So pretty cool. It really gives you an easy, when it's in the folded position, it gives you a very easy flick. It's also spring assisted like the Ma Tai was that I showed you a second ago, so you just kind of touch it off and it goes, but I haven't had any problems with it opening. As a detective, when I'm in plain clothes, I've also carried this for about a year. You see some of the marks on it, but it's held up really well. It's a Ken Onion Blur. Kershaw's been doing a lot of Ken Onion stuff for actually several years. That one is also pretty affordable at $65-ish, I'll say. But I've seen them as cheap as 50 and as much as 75. So it's kind of play with the money on that one. But at 3.3 inches and 3.9 ounces, it's a lightweight, super solid folder. And I love all the scales, the texturing. This is like skateboard grip tape kind of stuff all over the knife. So it really holds well, especially since it doesn't have any finger grooves or what have you. It's a fairly smooth deal. And it's a strange steel used on it. They call it 14C2BN. So, not sure. I'm not really a steel guru. I don't know, well, this one's great and this one's bad and whatever. I noticed that they rust. I can't stand the ones that chip and are too brittle. I like the ones that are easier to sharpen. I can't stand the ones that are hard to sharpen. So I just kind of go with the knife itself. I know what to look for, and I can tell good steel from bad steel. I don't have anything here that's bad steel. Okay, none of these are flea market or thrift shop knives or whatever. They're all kind of hand-picked. They're ones that I wanted. In the same size, but as you can see, a thinner, definitely a thinner body, is the CRKT Igniter. And when I got this knife, let me tell you, I hated it so much I didn't even carry it. I couldn't stand this knife because when I took it out of the box, I can't open it. It won't open. I don't know what's going on with this knife. Finally, after pushing and pushing and pushing, it's not an ambi stud, I figure out that it's this weird locking system that the CRKT has invented. You push this in, okay? You push on that button right there, push it down towards the blade, and then it'll open up, and it is spring assisted. Now that is kind of cool. CRKT Igniter 3.3 inch. It's that 18 CR MOV steel. It's pretty thin blade, but I like it. I have not chipped it like I did the Ma Tai instantly, or within the first couple months the Ma Tai chipped. The CRKT Igniter hasn't. It has a good-ish, better than some pocket clip, but not great because it's not super high. I love these textured scales on here. They not only look cool, but they feel cool. It gives you a little purchase. There's no jimping whatsoever on the top. I'm not a huge jimping guy, but I will say, yeah, you can fall off. Okay, I see that, you know. It's got the frame lock, which I'm not a fan of, as I said. Okay, but 3 ounces, I think it was, and it's a $50 knife, so not bad for 50 bucks. Reliable knife, weird locking system that you have to remember, but it is super fast. Once it does, it's effortless. So maybe something for you. I don't know. Check it out. It is thin. If you like thin knives, that'll appeal. Okay. These are similar in blade length. These are actually twin knives, just a different blade shape on them. This is SOG. Now, I haven't been doing a lot of knife reviews, but if you knew my little bitty knife collection that I have probably 20 or 30 knives. You'd see that SOG was the prominent brand on my fixed blades. I have a lot more fixed blades than I do folders. I like fixed blades. I'm a big hunter. And so I like a fixed blade knife when I'm out there for all my chores. On these knives, we have the Spec Elite, Pentagon, okay? It's the same knife, if you can see that. It's the exact same knife, same handle, same width, same lock, same blade steels, VG10, which is super cool. But this one has that shape of blade, and this one has that shape of blade, okay? The Pentagon, this is a false edge up here. This is the only sharp part. This is the half serrated regular plain blade model. And this is the full plain blade model. I actually prefer this. I don't like serrations as much. The tip on these is ridiculous. I mean, totally sharp. Ridiculously sharp out of the box, and I haven't been able to hardly dull them yet. I think I've probably had those knives 4 years, and maybe I've hit them with a sharpener one time. They really hold an edge good. They're super lightweight, but big, okay? Jimping is here, not on the blade because it's got a little hump, as you see. But jimping is here, okay? It's perfect. Clip, I like it because it's metal. It doesn't come out, but look at that. Look at that. Why does it have to ride this high? Why couldn't they make the clip come up here? Very strange, but as you see the holes right here, it is reversible. So you can carry it back or forth, whichever you prefer. It's got their cool arc lock button, okay, which is this button here. You just pull it back this way and the knife folds up, okay. Thumb stud, ambidextrous, and it's cut out in the handle. Push on it and it opens. It's not spring assisted in any way. Doesn't do anything for you, but it does open pretty quickly, okay, for a totally manual knife. Opens pretty quickly, and it's a good one. I like these. These used to be about 99 bucks. Now I'm seeing them about 89. I noticed Blade HQ had them 89 when I checked tonight. Both, again, 4-inch blades, so way bigger. You'll see the 3.3 versus the 4. Okay, it's bigger, no doubt, which also makes for a bigger handle. Okay, so you have a lot more knife in your pocket, and again, a lot more money. If you're talking $50, $60 knives in most cases, and now you're at a, you know, $89.95 or whatever you find it for, $85 on eBay or what have you. But they are super light. At 4.3 ounces, these knives are light. So I like them. I like SOG stuff. I really, you know what? SOG could probably make a piece of crap and I'd still like it, because I am a SOG nut. Okay, a few knives that are unconventional. Right. This knife right here. It's a little Smith & Wesson full auto. You push that button and it opens. Am I big on stuff like that? No, not really. It says Smith & Wesson Law Enforcement. I'll be honest with a guy that I knew from town gave me this when I was a cadet in the police academy. And I've always kept it. I don't know the steel type. I don't even know that it says on there. No. It's probably a Taiwan. It doesn't hold a good edge. It's just a single. This is a false edge. Doesn't hold a good edge, but what it is a 2.8-inch blade that's on a super thin knife that's metal with a good pocket clip, So I showed it to you. This meets criteria. When I first started as a police officer, I used to carry that knife on duty because I was a tactical guy. But then I realized all the time that when it's in your pocket, it opens. And it cut your duty pants or something like that. Now, it never cut through the pants, but it definitely cut the pocket a couple times. So I don't carry it much anymore. Again, make sure that this is legal for you. A military guy, a law enforcement guy, no problem. Or a state that allows them, I don't know. Texas doesn't. But if you can carry something like that, just be advised that you really want something that's harder to deploy accidentally. Maybe has a lock or something like that. Go into a totally traditional, that is why I brought this out. This is a handmade knife. It's a custom by a local knife maker in my hometown. I used to have the hunting store for years, and he would make me a knife, either fixed blade or folder, every single year. And I would give him a year's membership on our indoor archery range. So this is one of his. His name was Bob. It's pretty cool, as you see. He's got, you know, all the hieroglyphic etching up there, which actually works as a little jimping. It's a frame lock, but just a traditional pocket knife. So if you're in an area where, you know, some big tactical folder or something might be frowned upon or whatever, think about maybe something like this, a more traditional stag handle pocket knife. Okay, think about a Swiss Army knife. Not only does it have a blade on it, which in most cases doesn't lock from most brands, but it does have other little tools on there. So if you're carrying a multi-tool and you're carrying a folding knife, maybe you combine with that if you need to go lighter that day or something like that. And again, I'm not advocating a Swiss Army knife, which I have 50 of them. I'm not advocating that as a tactical blade or a defensive blade. I'm saying it's a knife. And I'm saying more often than not you're going to be cutting boxes open or something like that, or cutting a thread off your shirt versus stabbing the bad guy in a big war. Okay. But it's nothing to carry a Swiss Army knife and a tactical folder. No problem. If you need a defensive blade, carry one. Last but not least on the table, everybody wants to know what this knife is because you may not have even ever seen it. Okay. It is the Gunsite from Cold Steel. It's a big knife, 4-inch blade, tanto point, partially serrated, which isn't my preference, but if I remember, it may have been the only way it came, and it's in VG1, made in Japan, VG1 steel. What this equates to basically is the most cool knife, folding knife that I've ever owned. The steel is just battleship titanium strong. I guess, you know, you can stab this through steel drums and open them every day. It is really, really strong. The pocket clip is the only downfall on this knife, and the reason is it's little bitty. And look where it is. Look how far down that pocket clip is. It doesn't let it ride low in the pocket. As you see in my hand, the handle's huge. Okay, it does have jimping up here. It's everything you've wanted, and it has the button back here to let the knife go. Okay, to release the lock, so that it's not a frame lock, because I'm not as big on frame locks, even though half my knives are frame locks. So the Gunsite, I got this knife probably 6 years ago. This is the regular Gunsite. They had the Cold Steel Gunsite XL as well, which I also bought. Okay, the deal with the Gunsite XL is it was a 5-inch blade. It was super huge, and when I got it, I probably had it for 2 years, 3 years. It sat in the closet. I never used it once. And one night I said, I don't need this knife, and I put it on eBay and I sold it. It turns out these aren't easy to find. It was the only one on eBay. It went for a fortune. Guy gave like $150 for it, and I only paid $50 for this, brand new as a dealer. I think it was about $50 retail. But again, VG1 steel, super light, 3.8 ounces, 4-inch blade. This is a bad boy. I looked tonight, there was only one on eBay, and it was already up to about $70, but that still falls within our budget. We're going for $100. So one of them's not pictured that I actually have with me every day. It's in my get home bag that's in my vehicle, is the SOG Trident. I just didn't feel like going outside to get it tonight for the video because it's late. But that's an awesome folder. Just under 4-inch blade. It has a locking mechanism on it, which could or could not be good. It could really piss you off if you're trying to open it early. In a defensive situation, you can't do so. But the SOG Trident, also an awesome blade. But just like these SOGs, not super cheap. I think those are still going about 75 bucks. So you're going to pay a little bit for that knife. Excuse me. So, guys, it's week 4, the beginning of week 4 of the Scout Tactical Project. I told you in the last video how much I appreciate all the views. We've had people from 45 out of 55 of the tracked countries on YouTube watch the show. Now we're over 1,700 views on the first few videos. I'm so happy about that. I'm proud. If you like the channel, we're trying to push for a subscription drive. We're trying to get the first 100 subscribers. So please push the button. It just takes a second. Subscribe to the channel. Leave comments. Tell me what you want to see. Is it the next gun, the next pack, the next whatever? Let me know. I will review it if I can. As always, thanks for watching.